Alright guys, so this is... Welcome back to another Patreon request, and this one comes from Nolan Unejo, who, we'll get to him in a moment. We'll get to what the request is, although you can see it from the title. Aren't we professional on this channel? Anyway, so let's dive... So, as always, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where if you hit the 4th tier, you can send me requests to do here on YouTube. So, without further ado, let's dive right into this Patreon request from Nolan Unejo. Hope I'm saying that name right, so thank you, Nolan. Thank you for the support. And yeah, as you can see from the title, what if Civil War happened in the DC Universe? So, yeah, this is a question we've all talked about, and it kind of has happened before. Like, DC Universe has had Civil War, not in continuity. What I mean is Kingdom Come was basically Civil War in the DC Universe, and also better. Yeah, so we've kind of had in an out-of-continuity story where, yeah, we've had Civil War happen in the DC Universe. Here's the thing, though. You can't do Civil War with the big three. Literally, you'd have to do this event without the Trinity. And you may be thinking, well, how does that even work, Multi? Like, how can you do that? You know, obviously Superman would be the pro-registration and Batman would be anti-registration. Haven't you played Injustice? Don't you know Injustice is better than the DC Universe? Don't you think Injustice Superman is the best Superman because he's evil and I don't know how to write a character? Okay. Let's back it up a bit. Out of continuity aside, and yes, you could make the argument that in other previous reboots that Superman was kind of like very pro-government. But even then, you have to remember, Superman's arch nemesis is a fucking capitalist who is a former fucking president. Yeah, so Superman literally would be like, even he would know that pro-registration for the Justice League or anyone in the DC Universe would literally tear the DC Universe apart, and he'd be against it. He would be opposed to it. Batman, obviously he'd be against it. Like, yeah, that man cares more about his secret identity than fucking anything else. Like, that guy, you think Bruce Wayne is gonna be, like, as paranoid as his ass is gonna let the government tell him to take his mask off? No. He may be a control freak, and I do see, like, he would have, like, he would have a strong opinion and be like, I'm for it, but I don't want to be a part of it. But, like, he could see like pro-registration is the right idea because he's a goddamn control freak, and no one wants to acknowledge that. But yeah, so Batman would be against it, but he would be like, that's a good idea for like something maybe in the future. Wonder Woman would be totally like, fuck you. I'm from Themyscira. I get diplomatic immunity, bitch. So that's the you'd have to do this if you were to do like a DC Universe equivalent of Civil War. It would have to be done without Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman because there's no conflict. And if there is, it'd be forced conflict at best. So you would have to be like, yeah, because the Trinity deep down would be like, no, this is stupid. So it would have to be like, maybe you could do it like, if this was to be like, if DC Universe was to do like a Civil War type event, the best way you could do it really is how I would do it is that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are missing. Like, this whole event that causes, like, massive destruction and, like, maybe, like, Coast City already got blown the fuck up, so let's maybe not use... Maybe Central City or Keystone City, and during this event, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are gone. Or maybe they were... maybe they are detained, or something happens that takes them out of play, and that leads to this. Now, now, you're probably thinking, well, if you don't have the Trinity here, who's really on whose side? The two main focus, and I think this would work so much better, is Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen. There's your opposing sides. Like, those would be the champion, the two sides championing the 2 points. That's how I think it should go. Is because not only are they best friends, Oliver and Hal are best friends, but literally there's a whole fucking comic in the 70s where they literally talked about, like, their differences, you know, supporting against the government or for the government. Yeah, we'd literally, like, I would really, if I could do this as an event, I would really like to go back to those, like, talk about those Green Arrow, Green Lantern comics, and really play with a lot of, like, what happened in there. So, yeah, I definitely see, because Hal is very much, like, he's very pro-authority. He's very, like, even though he doesn't trust the Guardians and kind of does his own thing, he will, like, be a government, he will stand up for, like, government oversight or something like that. And he will, like, try to obey laws of the U.S. government. And Oliver is not about that. So if this was an event, you take out Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and pro-registration is happening, whether it be under... Actually, like, this would be perfect if Amanda Waller was president, because you damn well know she'd do something like this. I'm surprised they didn't do this a lot with Luthor. Maybe they just didn't want to, I don't know. I remember they wanted to do something like this with Luthor as president, when they did the Luthor president thing. But if they did this again, yeah, President Waller would definitely do something like this. Anyway. Anyway. So, yeah. Our two opposing sides would literally be the two best friends who are now being forced on against each other. That's that I think would be amazing. And plus it gives a lot of credence to other characters outside of the big three. Like, who would join whose side? Like, this would tear apart entire teams like it did in the Marvel Universe. Because who's good? Like, Oliver, you maybe think, well, no one's going to follow Oliver. He's just a guy with a bow and arrow. Yeah, he's also a billionaire, and also, like, he does have leadership skills. So, I think he would make a good argument to be, like, leading an underground resistance. Plus, it'd be kind of really nice if for Oliver Queen to have, like, more of a spotlight in this day and age. Anyway, so you may be thinking, like, just a few characters I could see on who would be pro-registration, who would be anti-registration, and who would just be like, I'm out, I don't need to do this. Aquaman would be one. I think Aquaman would be one of those people who would be like, I'm the king of Atlantis, jackass. I don't, your authority is unrecognized by the king of Atlantis. So, yeah, I claim diplomatic immunity in this whole situation. I'm just gonna go... But here's the thing. I do think Arthur would choose a side. He would claim diplomatic immunity on registration because he's a king of a sovereign nation. And he would be spurred into action. But I do think he would be on the pro-registration side, because I do think he would be like, what happened? I lost 3 of my best friends in this whole event. I need to pick a side. And also, I imagine the U.S. government would do something really bad to Atlantis if I didn't help. Then you have, I think Cyborg would also be pro-registration. I definitely see, like, actually, it'd be a lot easier to talk about the anti-registration side. I do think a lot of the members of the JSA would join pro-registration, but there's also be a good number that wouldn't. Obviously, you think Jason Todd's gonna go pro-reg? No. You think fucking Raven... Well, Raven might. Ravens would be a tough one to, like, where side would she fall? Beast Boy? That's also a maybe. Starfire? Maybe. Like, the main core of the Titans, they could fall either way. That's one thing you have to look at, is that it would fall... The cards would fall either way in that regard. So, yeah, that would be that would be kind of a big deal. Now... For anti-register, like, the question, you think Vic Sage is gonna, like, say yes to the government that he constantly has a conspiracy theory war against? No. Huntress? Fuck no. Nightwing is also, I think Nightwing or Barbara would fall either way. Like, that's another thing. They might fall either way. Cassandra, anti-registration. A lot of people think, oh, the Bat family would totally fall in line and team up with Batman. Not necessarily. Like, I think if the situation and the severity of such situation would be big enough, I do think some of them would consider this pro-registration thing, because they'd be like, yeah, maybe we do need... Like, have you seen the collateral damage in Gotham? And some of that is caused by us. You think, like, maybe we should have some government oversight to help us. Because we're losing the... Like, it's just a stalemate between us and everyone in Arkham. It's just a constant stalemate. We can't keep doing this forever. Yeah. So I do think there would be a good number... there could be like several members of the Bat family going, yeah, we don't want to fucking do this. Like and some would be like, yeah, let's pick pro-registration. Let's tongue tied. Let's do registration. There could be that. Same with, like I said, the Titans, JSA as well. I do think, I think Alan Scott would, I think he would join pro-registration. Jay, maybe. Ted, definitely not. Duh, Wildcat would not do this. Stargirl and Stripe, probably. I do think they would do something like this. Yeah. It's really hard to gauge where these characters would. Damian definitely would not. Like Jonathan Kent, no. Like he wouldn't do this either. Supergirl would be like where Kara would land in there. I think she might go pro-registration. I think that's a possibility. But yeah, like I said, the big thing you have to look at is that this whole event would have to predicate on, you can't have the Trinity here, because realistically, the entire Trinity, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, would not be okay with this. Literally, Superman would go to the UN and be like, I don't like it. And everyone would go, yeah, what the fuck were we thinking? Oh, man, registering heroes? Government oversight over superheroes? What the fuck thank you, Superman. We basically just kept ourselves because, yeah, we'd be so focused on superheroes fighting each other, villains would win. What the fuck were we thinking? Holy shit. Thank you, Superman, for reminding us that's a fucking stupid idea. Anyway. So, but you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think it would be like if Civil War happened in the DC universe? Just comment below, let me know. Who do you think would be on the pro-registration? Who do you think would be on the anti-registration? Once again, I'd like to thank Nolan and Aho for sending me this Patreon request. And again, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the 4th tier, where you can also send not only requests, but also check out the exclusive content over on Patreon as well. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.